Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a show we've got today. You know, sometimes I sit here and I think to myself, what should I post? What should I do? What should I do in the gears scene? Should I wear the Merc hat for this one? Should I wear the blue Merc hat? What kind of mood are we in? I tell you what kind of mood we're in. We're in the MGGA mood. Let's slip this hat on, mate, and let's get talking about esports, because this is the drama that is going on in the Gears esports scene right now, and I think it's absolutely brilliant to talk about. Okay, so you're probably thinking, Gears esports? Z, you don't really care about Gears esports. Let me tell you this. I'd love Gears esports to be thriving. I'd absolutely love Gears esports to be thriving. Even from a selfish point, I could make better content. I could link up with people. The scene would grow. So don't get it twisted. I want the Gears esports scene to grow. I love the game. You know, I do. I'm sat here. I've made $5. I've made $5 onto the content goal this month. I haven't got 1 million subscribers. I've got 80 Twitch subscribers. I'm not sat here making millions. I appreciate every single person that's supported. Don't get it twisted. Absolutely love you. But don't think I'm sat here with millions of dollars, like preaching from a tower going, oh, look at these Gears esports people crying because they've got no money and I've got loads. No, that's not the case at all. I don't make any money in this scene, really, at all. So for me, if the scene was bigger, it'd be fantastic. Look at this. I'll tell you my analytics. I get 20,000 YouTube views on a good month. 20,000 YouTube views on a good month. Now, what is it? You can get paid up to $1 per 1,000 views. Even if I was getting paid, I'd be making $20. You can do the maths. Now, when you watch NA pros and you watch Mexican YouTube channels and you watch other content creators that are TC partners that get access to skins, they're making 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, up to 1 million views a month. So there is viewership out there. You've just got to capture it, and I'm trying to capture it in my own way. I can't do the skin videos because I can't afford to just buy every skin under the sun. So I'm doing my own content that hopefully you've been enjoying. But this one is about esports, and it's about the mess that people are making and talking about. The fact that the Gears, specifically EU scene, is dead. And as a result, pros are leaving. NA pros, NA content creators are thinking of jumping ship. This week, I've seen more people talk about the death of Gears than ever before. And the people shifting from left to right. You know, by the way, how sick is my lighting now? Yeah, that's right, mate. We got new lighting thanks to the support from the Zicarios. Appreciate that, making it look top-notch in the studio, mate. Anyway, right, let's jump into the news. And let's check out what the hell what's got everybody so upset. Let's roll it. Let's head back to that beautiful pink synth. Boom. Right. So EGL are happy to announce that there is a tournament available, 10 weekly tournaments for $500. That's about £360. Available, and some EGL RP. I'm not sure what that is, but you get 2,500 if you get the win. 2,500 split between 5 players. You're getting $500 per player if you win. Times 10. What's that? You're getting about $5,000. You're getting about 3,680 quid or something per season if you win every single match, right? So 3,680 quid. I don't know how many seasons there are. I imagine there's 2, 3, 4 seasons. You can win about 12 grand. That's quite a fair amount of money considering how dead the scene is, in my opinion. But wait, before you all go, that's ridiculous, shut up. Okay, let's agree that it's a low figure. Let's do that then. Let's agree that it's a low figure. Now, let's look at the reaction, the scene, what's going on. And we've got a dev stream coming up. We have got a dev stream, so, you know, it's going to be live, one take. You know the rules. Like, comment. So, when we head over to this tournament, you can see how it's broken down. You can play for 500 each week, and a split final is 2,500. Now, maybe I've just got those figures wrong, okay? You're playing for a 500 pool each week. And the final, the split final, so maybe it's even less money. Okay, I can see the outrage, but you've got to understand that the companies are not... Right, think about this. Companies, Gears lads, companies are not stupid. If Gears Esports in EU could make them millions of pounds by putting in millions of pounds, you people like money. They would do it. The Gears esports scene ain't making money, and it's not viable to make to dump money in. We've just seen that Microsoft chucked $2 million pounds into the scene, and clearly it's made no money. There was about 10k viewers that watched it for skins, basically, and then they fucked off because they got the skins and they left. Now, yeah, it's not a lot of money, right? So let's have a look. So you're playing for this, and you break it down. Okay, if you win the tournament, the weekly tournament one, you get $400. Between 5 guys, that's $80. That's about 60 quid or something. That's a video game, right? So you're winning a video game. And if you come second, you're getting $20. You're getting a McDonald's, a legit McDonald's meal. Oreo McFlurry, large Coke, large fries, 5 chicken selects or 9 chicken nuggets, and it's about 12 quid, in it, my monstrous McDonald's meal. So you're getting about a McDonald's meal a week for coming second place. And think about that. I believe that I know it's not a lot of money, lads. It's really not. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. You're trying to treat the scene like it's League of Legends, like it's Dota 2, like it's CS, like it's Call of Duty, and you're like, why are we getting a McDonald's meal for coming second place? I'll tell you why. Because sadly, lads, and you know me, I'd love esports to be thriving. I think the reason it's not thriving, the game's shit, there's no ladders, there's no road to reaching a level to become a pro, there's no consistent way to practice. Again, the bad matchmaking, the bad ladder system, the bad stack vs stacks, the weapon swaps are different in ranked compared to competitive, so then you have to arrange everything in a scrim, then you have to go into a scrim, into a Discord, and then the Discord's toxic, the people in there are toxic, and it's not a great environment. Listen, I understand that it's rock hard to do it in Gears of War, but you've got to build it up, man. You've got to build it up somehow. You've got to make some content. You've got to promote yourself. You've got to stream regularly. Microsoft chucked a load of money into the scene, right? And they chucked 2 million in, and it's made no money, and they've taken the money out. And the reaction from the scene has been this. It's been people changing their tag, the GGZII page, to #boycott_gears. Now, if you were fired from your job and your employee looked you up, and the very next day you were massively bitching about everything, would they rehire you? No. You need to prove to them, as hard as it may be, that EU's worth investing in, right? It's saying they're getting 1.5% of what NA and Latin America are getting. You can see here, America are fighting for 240,000 in a final. EU, I think it was about 50k or whatever it was, whatever those numbers are. I can't bother to do it on the fly. There's some lower numbers for South America and some even lower numbers for Asia Pacific. And people in Asia Pacific, mate, there's probably only 5 teams turning up, mate. So let's be honest, we're currently now getting as much money as Asia Pacific, and arguably rightly so. There's no teams, and I've said this since day one, man. I've said this from day one, that it's like the same old teams that turn up. Now, when I watch COD Esports, StarCraft, Dota, League, you're watching the very best of the very best compete. So there's going to be a lot of money on the line because they've risen to the top. The Gears scene, especially in EU, is like, and I don't want to be mean or rude, but let's be honest, it's like the 15 teams in the world that can stack up as a 5-man and can take the day off work or have the ability to not be at work on that day and roll up to the tournament. The tournaments in EU are like the Microsoft Center. Hey guys, we're supporting the scene. You can play it at your local Microsoft Center for a controller. And then Broken Fridge 25618112 and Slippery Spoon 69 go into the Microsoft Center to play with their, they've been buying a phone, and they've said to them, oh, you want to buy a phone? You can also play in this tournament that's going on. You can win a controller. Do you want to sit down and have a go? They sit down and have a go, and they don't know how to wall bounce or anything. They don't know how to use the controller. Next to them is 2 EU pros hunched over, communicating, 83 headsets sat on there. They've got the call outs, the rotations, the lefty swapping, the hype about, and they smash them and they win the controller. And that's like the level of the Gears esports scene, and they're wondering why there's no funding. And again, there's no funding because of things like this, lads, and we're going to get into the dev blog. There is a dev blog to do. But you go into the scene like this, and people are moaning about this level of money, but when I tried to help, and I wouldn't have been able to do much help, I know, but this is what I'm saying about it's an unwelcoming scene. I'll call 2 people out. Tony Campbell, who's since unblocked me and has followed me on Twitch. Hi, Toby. I've got to be honest, mate. Like, for like 7 months, you had me blocked, and it made me feel completely unwelcome in the Gears PC Discord, so I never went in there. I left the Discord because I don't want to be in a toxic environment. I don't want to be with shit talkers or some sort of like laddie bro esports culture. So I just left that, and I didn't want to be a part of it. And I know a load of people that get turned off by the fact that because it's not officially supported, and again, it's not your fault, because TC don't officially have good laddering systems, you know, elo systems to check people's skill. You have to go into Discord's forums, and you have to go into these places and talk to these people, and you have to sort of become friends with them, get involved in the scene rather than just competing. You have to like know everybody. It becomes like a clique. Guy Blaze called me a clout chaser. He thinks I'm a clout chaser. I get literally like $5 a month and about $12 a month total from like making content on this game, right? My Twitch is like my primary little tiny bit on the side where people support me directly, but my content gets me literally pretty much nothing, you know? And he's calling me a clout chaser. What? Clout chasing for what? What's this say? $80 if I win the tournament? And that's like the kind of welcome you get. Not, hey, look, there's a new content creator. And he's I think I've made about almost close to him, like, I don't know how to, let's say it's about 1 million views since coming back into the scene. Rather than saying, hey, this guy brought 1 million views in, it's more like, fuck you, I don't want to speak to you, you're a clout chaser, you're this, you're that. It's not welcoming. When I check Twitch, I don't see EU pros streaming. I don't see them with a camera. I don't see any personalities. I don't see them with voice communication on. Everything's like an Xbox capture screen with basically just gameplay. And it's not inspiring, and it's not interesting, and nobody wants to watch it, and that's why the money's been cut. And people are acting shocked. They're like, how dare you? I'm amazed that people are even getting employed and paid to cast Gears Esports when it's literally just whoever wants to roll up on the day and win, right? And I don't want to be harsh or, you know, brutally wrong, because there are great players there. There are great players there, but it's not at that League of Legends level, and they're treating it like it's at the League of Legends level. And I don't want to say the word, but I'm going to say it. A lot of these pros and a lot of these people are absolutely deluded into thinking that Gears deserves a massive scene. It doesn't. There are no viewers. It's your job. Like, before StarCraft had money, and before COD had money, people played the game, hosted their own tournaments, put up their own cash prizes. Total Biscuit used to host Shoutcraft. When the StarCraft scene was dying, Total Biscuit hosted his own tournaments with Shoutcraft, put up big prize pools, content creators got sponsors, etc. I've seen a few people trying to do that, but there's not enough. And I'm not saying they should have to, but they should have to at this point, because when the scene's dead, the only way you're going to save it is Microsoft doing a massive another cash injection, which clearly hasn't worked. You can't just inject money into a scene and expect it to thrive. There needs to be a core foundation of players, of people wanting to compete, and there isn't at the moment, and people are deluded into thinking there is. Microsoft put £10 million into Gears of War right now, into Gears of War EU, £10 million. Yeah, some people will play for the cash prizes because everybody competes for money. If I hosted a tournament and I said there's £10 million to be up for grabs on Connect 4, does that mean Connect 4 is an esports? Does that mean there's a scene? It means people are just playing for money and there's not an actual scene. Whereas with a game like StarCraft, when there was no money, there was still a scene. People were still competing on ladder, doing tournaments, etc. And there is no scene. And that's the reality. You have to build that scene up. And it doesn't help, like, when you go to do stuff like this, and I go to EGL in November 2019, and I was willing, I'd got it written down, I'd done talks. I wanted to do pro interviews. I wanted to do game analysis. I wanted to do up-and-coming teams, up-and-coming players, and EGL reviews. And I asked if I could post it to YouTube to promote the scene, and they just went, "Do not post the contents to it. It's on our channel." And yet, when you go to the EGL YouTube page and you look at their YouTube channel, their stuff is literally getting like 50 views for Gears. And I'm not saying I could have saved the scene. Absolutely not. I'm not that deluded and big-headed. Absolutely not. But come on, if the scene's dying, don't you want people to help you out and you're turning them away? It's like this if you're not in the group, if you're not in the clique, if you're not in the right channels, discords or whatever, it's like you're shunned outside and people don't want to compete in an environment like that. And now we're going to hear, I guess, people get irate that the fact they're playing for a McDonald's level of money. But let's be honest, that's kind of what it is. That is kind of the sad game that we're in right now. And people are getting deluded. And it doesn't help when you have Boycott Gears been followed by TC Sarah. And yet the community manager can't even follow me. Now, that's not salt or anything. What I'm saying is that community manager follows somebody that's talking about Boycott Gears, but won't follow people that have actively tried to help the scene rather than just spam hashtag revert or bitch. And it's not a moan at this guy or a moan at TC Sarah. I'm just saying the feeling you get is like in Gears when you're heavy in drama and you're heavy in negativity, you gain attention. It's always been that way. When you actually try to help the scene, you're just seen as basically an irritant that needs to go away. There's like this gatekeeping. People have spoke about it before in my Q&A video. There's like this gatekeeping nature of, oh, you want to help the scene? It's perfect the way it is. Shut up, get good or adapt, go away. And then all of a sudden, the scene absolutely flops and you're not getting your massive paychecks anymore. And now it's all hell breaks loose and now they want the help. Well, it's too late. You needed to build the scene up before this. You needed to use that cash injection to build the scene up and prove to Microsoft that it's viable. And it's currently not. It's not viable. So, let's go into the dev stream and let's hear what they've got to say. And maybe I get my mind completely changed, but at the moment, I'm just going to sip me coffee, and I just think it's ridiculous that everyone's getting so irate over Gears Esports being shut down when it was bound to happen. You can't put £2 million into a scene and not see a return and expect the same level of... The only way you do that is if you're sure. As in, you're Elon Musk dumping money into the Starlink network that's going up in the sky and is going to give us broadband, or Tesla, and you keep dumping money and money and money into producing these cheaper batteries, better cars, electric cars, and you keep dumping money and you're losing money. And he's like, okay, we need more money. And he's like, but we're losing money. He's like, yeah, but at the end there's going to be a jackpot. There's going to be a pot of gold. So you keep dumping money in it. If Microsoft keep dumping money into esports, the way the scene is and the way it's set up, there isn't a pot of gold at the end. It's just a money dump. Now, that is also, don't get me wrong, it's not to do with Toby Campbell. It's not to do with the esports players. It's primarily down to the game. The game is ass. Let's not get it twisted. The game's ass. Nobody wants to play on an ass game with crappy spectator, a massive red dome, and it's visually a crapshoot to watch. It's mechanically a crapshoot. It's awkward to watch. Time zones are bad, etc. Right? So it's not these people's fault. Don't get it twisted. It's not their fault. I'm just saying that they're acting so stunned and they're acting so, wow, how's this happened, when it was bound to happen. Put it right, I'm an outsider. I came into the scene at Gears 5. I don't know what Gears 4 was like. I came into the Gears 5 scene, big money. Whoa, there's loads of money in Gears, right? These guys are doing great, I thought, because I hadn't played Gears since like Gears 3, and there was no money then. And I came back into Gears 5, and I was reading £2 million, £240,000 tournaments. I was like, oh, this scene's grown a lot since I left. And I've been in it a year, and it hasn't grown at all. It's just the same group of players and the same attitude of these players and these people and the content just competing for more money because Microsoft have thrown more money into it. So let's get into the dev blog. And let's see what's happening.
at least from my standpoint, a Friday edition of the Gears of War. Normally I call it a developer stream, but it's not really a developer stream. This is a dedicated esports stream. I am joined by two phenomenal people. We've got, well, one phenomenal person and one not so, and I'll let you guys pick which one it is. And so I've got I love Chris's face. We've got Chris from EGL joining us today, and we've got Toby Campbell joining us as well. You guys probably recognize them. They were casters during the last couple of broadcasts that we've done.
Now, just before we begin, I want to make it clear, I have no issue with anybody in this scene. I really don't. I don't care. All these people, they're fighting for their piece of the pie. They're fighting for the passion of the game. Don't get it twisted, guys. Because I know some stuff could get clipped out of context, but listen, everybody likes Gears of War. These are on the Gears of War show because they like Gears of War. I'm talking about Gears of War because I like Gears of War. People compete because they like it, and people watch it because they like it, and people don't watch it and play Horde because they like Gears. People like Gears in their own way, right? I'm not having a go at anyone. I'm just giving my opinion on why I think, from my perspective, where I sit, why it's failed. And I'm going to now watch this and give some talks about, sort of what actually happened, why I think it's gone the way it has. But yeah, I don't have any issues with anybody. We're all here fighting for the same thing, right? No, I don't care. I don't have enough time in the day to hate these people, It's wasted energy.
Both of you guys do a great job. I love watching you. The enthusiasm, the fun is amazing. So, big news today. We talked a little bit about, or you guys announced the intention for the what's going on in Gears of War, Gears Esports with Europe, as well as in South America. Chris, as the representative of EGL, do you want to talk a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, I don't know why they're throwing me on here, to be honest with you, Dana.
I argued for someone else as well, but I'm not sure.
No, I mean, obviously, everyone would have seen our announcement today of the EGL Open Series, of course, for Europe and South America. And we're excited to share what's going on in Europe. Obviously, from our point of view, there is disappointment on our side of things that it isn't part of the Pro League anymore, but it's at least we have this to offer you. And our focus with this is to make EGL.TV sort of.
So let's just get it. Let's remember. I believe it's also been cut from the program, and their main. So if you don't follow it, their main gripe is the way it was handled, and I completely agree with that. Right? Their main gripe was sort of, how do I word it? It was, okay, if you're going to cut us from the scene, let us know, or trickle down the money and let us know. Now, I agree, right? If you're going to cut somebody from a program where there's people with jobs and there's pros playing and they've been training and practicing, and all of a sudden it gets cut, you should do a better job. But again, I don't want to be brutally honest, but I will. When it's League of Legends and you have like gaming houses and organizations like Optic and all these massive people, they have to let you know, okay, on this contract date, it's going to get cut. You need to be prepared. You need to let people go. You need to downsize. You need to move, etc. On Gears, it's like that scene where you turn up to a Microsoft event and play for money. It's basically, there isn't really a scene. You're just playing for money. So that they don't really need to announce it to the same degree. They can just say, okay, the next time you play, it's less money on the line. Because there is no real infrastructure in the scene that needs to be notified. It's kind of just a group of guys that play for money, and instead of them playing for 240,000, they're like, yeah, this time you're not playing for that, you're playing for this. Do you want to do that? So I agree that, yeah, they probably should have been had some notice earlier, but I also sort of disagree, because at this point it's not a big infrastructure, it's just a scene with money that people are playing for. There's a big difference.
The go-to for the Gears community in Europe and in South America, and to sort of have a base for everybody, because it feels like nobody really has that with Gears of War in Europe and South America. Now we have this with the EGL.TV and of course the Open Series. And just to run through a couple of details with it, of course we will be doing tournaments every single week with $500 up for offering, and of course we are going to be having a pro point system, so we can see people's going into quarterly majors online as well. We've got a total of $15,000 for the weekly tournaments and $7,500 for the quarterly majors as well. We're going to be running every single Sunday at 5 p.m. BST and GMT, when we do of course change time zones. And just to run through a couple more of the finite details, weekly will be single elimination with best out of 1 up till semi-finals or finals, depending on numbers, which will be best out of 3. And of course, the quarterly tournaments will be double elimination. But
okay, so you know how I said that when you get fired, you need to prove your worth? This is what I feel like is going to happen. The pros and people are going to go, this ain't worth it, I'm leaving. And then they're not going to be able to fill up all of the tournaments. And then the prize pool is going to have to be dropped. Or like the tournaments are going to have to be held less regularly. Or there's just this one team that can actually compete and turn up and they're going to sweep everything, which again makes it boring because you're watching this for competition, right? You're watching this to see people compete. You don't want to watch a stomp. So they're in danger. They're in danger of it becoming a stomp or nobody turning up. And if nobody turns up, that sadly kind of justifies Microsoft's decision. What the Gears EU scene should do now is go, you know what? We're going to fill up this tournament. We're going to play it. And on top of it, we're going to host our own tournaments and we're going to try and grow the scene again and prove to Microsoft that we deserve to be in your thoughts. But what I think is probably going to happen is everyone's going to rage. People are going to leave. And the only few people left that can be bothered to fight for the prize pool are going to just sweep it and it's going to be a boring tournament. I hope I'm wrong, but that's the way I'm feeling. What do you think will happen? It's clearly just it's everybody getting angry, and I still can't really see what they're getting that angry over, to be completely honest. It's bad, yeah, but was it not expected? Am I deluded?
That is sort of the finite details. And there's a few more things to go through, I'm sure, as well, where we will address some concerns that we have seen, but we're excited to get into it, and hopefully we have plenty of you guys joining us every single week.
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm super excited about that. I know that Toby's got a bunch of questions for me on the community side. I do want to just start off by saying it's, you know, we you know, are really, we know that there's a very passionate, small, but passionate group in Europe, as well as competitive players in South America, as well as in Europe.
Do we even need to see anything else? That right there, that is the statement of the day. There is a passionate group of Gears of War players. Small, but passionate. And people will laugh at Dana for that, or people will say, why is he so happy, or this or that. But he doesn't have the $2 million to give to Gears EU. He's the face of the company for TC, right? And he's right. You might not want to hear it. You really might not want to hear it. It might be an ego popping. It might be a wounder. But it is a small scene. He's not wrong. Yeah, maybe he shouldn't have said small, but I think he's trying to get the point across right away that, listen, I know all of the questions you're about to fire at me are going to be valid questions. They're going to have valid points with valid reasoning behind them. But the reality is, you're such a small figure that it's just sadly can't care about you that much. That hurts. That hurts to hear. You know, that's going to hurt to hear, but that kind of is the truth, isn't it? It is the truth. You know, I get like 1k views on YouTube. In the grand scheme of things, compared to like someone getting 10k views to posting a skin video, or somebody getting 300,000 views for posting a Spanish-based rap shot tutorial, I'm insignificant. You've got to accept it. You've got to handle it.
So it's great that there's continues to be a opportunity for these players to get together and compete, make a little bit of money, and sort of maintain that aspect of the community. Before we...
That's it. That is the key, right? That is the key statement. It's important that these players can still play for a little bit of money. They can still compete. They can still chat in their Discords. They can still meet up. They can still scrim. And they can still maintain that little bit of the community. But that community isn't big enough to be fighting for the grand totals. And again, people won't want to hear it. But that is the sad truth. And Dana's hitting them with the truth bombs. And I've seen that people were mocking this. I saw that people were mocking this podcast. That people were saying he's an idiot. That people were saying he's deluded and he was unfair and he was brutal and this and that. He's completely right. You might not want to hear it, but he's completely right. There's a very, very small community of teams that play. I think there's 15 teams that compete, so that's 5 times 15, that's 75. There might be 25 more free agents. Let's say there's 100 free agents that scrim. Let's say there's 300 and there's a total of 400 people competing. It's important that those 400 people have a place to communicate. They have a little tournament to go to each week that keeps their spirits up. Hey, let's play this game. Let's earn a little bit on the side. But that's all it is. And until the scene grows, and until EGL starts raking in viewers weekly, and until people start watching it for the reason of wanting to watch it, that's all it ever will be. And it's all it ever would have been unless Microsoft gave it that big cash injection, right? And because they've given it that big cash injection, I think it's gone to their heads from Gears 4 to Gears 5 that we're pros. We're pros, we play for big money, patches should be delayed for us, you know, etc. The game should be balanced around us. We're the pro players. We're the backbone of this community. We bring in the money when it's not. In fact, Microsoft brought in the money and handed it to you, and now they've taken it away, and you're back to square one, where really it should have been back to square 3, 4, 5. You should have only dropped down a little level if the money disappears, because the scene and the infrastructure should have been built up underneath it. It hasn't. It was like you were down here, Microsoft chucked some money up so you're up here, and the money's gone and you've gone way down all the way to the lower level. When really, when the money was here, if the scene was popular, infrastructure would have started getting built. Communities, sponsorships, venues, bigger tournaments, content creators, etc. And then the money disappears, we're back down to here. Okay, then there's this level here. We get some, we reach out, we keep growing it, we get some more sponsorships. Microsoft come back in, we jump up again, right? And then all of a sudden, because it's up here, Microsoft can keep chucking in money. And then, woohoo, you've got a scene. You've finally got a scene. But it's not like that. It was literally Microsoft threw money in, the pros, nobody did anything, the money's gone all the way down here. And now everyone's pissed off and wounded. But the truth hurts, lads. The truth hurts. And I'm here to drop it because everyone else seems to be in cloud cuckoo land. Apart from, you know what? I'll call him out. I'll say his name. I watched him the other day and he was fair. Dutch Omnidas came back and he had a similar approach and he got in a lot of trouble for it. But I'll say his name again. Dutch Omnidas came back and he said that these guys were a little bit deluded. I'm not saying these guys on screen. I'm saying the scene in general. And yeah, that's going to get me some stick, but really it shouldn't. It should light a fire up their ass and go, okay, maybe he's right. Let's build the scene. Instead, it'll be bitching, arguing, name calling. I've seen, I won't call out who's who. Let's just say some of the top PC teams, I've seen DMs leaked. I've seen stuff that has been sent to me as a middleman. They're not the most friendly bunch with each other. They're not exactly helping each other and trying to grow the scene.
I think, yeah, I was just going to ask a few more questions, but I think I want to start with just sort of like maybe letting, two things. One, there is, if you go to EGL's website, all of that stuff that Chris very quickly listed off is going to be, those details are there. So, because I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of information.
It's a lot of information. I said, we got the tweet out. It's all out there, but yeah. It was just, if anybody wasn't around to check it out, make sure you do just check it out at EGL, and we have all the details on the website.
Okay. And then I'm actually seeing, believe it or not, the most comments I'm seeing right.
Also, just one more point. I will admit, right, TC do a shocking job of advertising, right? When there is an EGL tournament and when there is another tournament that isn't hosted by Gears, they should tweet it out. They should do a video. They should say it's going on in the game, right? They should. And I will admit, that is a very, very valid criticism from the pros and from other people that TC don't do enough to share the tournaments, because I personally never know when they're on. I never see tweets. So yeah, in that regard, they could do a lot more. Right, let's just be clear. In fairness to the pros, right, TC could do a lot more that doesn't involve money. A tweet doesn't involve money. A sharing of content doesn't involve money. A forum post, a pinned thread, a tab in game, something that doesn't cost a ton of money they could do to support the scene. Right? I'll admit, they don't. There was only a post the other day where they said content creators aren't supported, and I said maybe you should tweet out gameplay, get people interacting, get a bit of that media viral action going on. The next day, just out of coincidence, they tweeted, send us in your best King of the Hill Nasher playlist clips. I sent mine in. Not many other people did. I tried to support. I sent mine in. I thought they've lent me a bone there. They've handed me out a bone. I'll chomp on it and reply back. Not many other people did. The next day, the next week, that kind of stopped. And they probably think to themselves, these people have asked us to do a certain thing, like help us tweet out clips. We've given them the opportunity to do it, and they're not even doing it. And that's kind of always been a problem in the Gears scene. The developers give you a little bit, and everyone kind of goes, that's not enough. Rather than saying, thank you, I will interact with it, I will help grow the scene, and maybe next time you won't give us a little bit. You'll give us a little bit more, and then a little bit more, right? So yeah, I just anecdotal evidence. Oh, they're not supporting content creators. This is not about esports. They're not supporting content creators. They don't help us. They don't do anything. I said, maybe you could do some clip tweets, retweets, etc. They did it. Nobody even interacted with them. So from their perspective, they're probably thinking, let's not even bother. So the next time, if TC do tweet out a tournament and TC do something to do with competitive, and you are a competitive person, you bet your ass you better interact with it. That's what I'm saying. You better interact with it and better show that you're interested. That's what they're looking for right now. They're looking to see if you're interested, if you're still willing to grow the scene. And then maybe the money will come back.
Now, inside of the chat, and maybe I want to do with this before, Toby, you asked me some of these questions, is about modes. And I think, and I'm not going to lie, I'm actually a little surprised that that's the main questions that I'm seeing. And that actually really makes me excited, because that talks about how excited people are to compete and what to play. I think the coolest thing about our partnership with you guys is how the modes are going to work. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we can definitely talk about it. In terms of how this has worked, yes, okay, we may not be tied to that Pro League sort of center as much anymore. However, I think that the advantage to that is that we have control of how we want to run the program from you.
I hope this caster's got his microphone fixed for the next cast, mate. What he goes on to say is it's kind of nice because we're not tied to the Pro League, that they can do their own setting, their own maps. And what they need to do is maybe look at it with a positive. Okay, we can't play the same settings as the pros, or we could, but we don't need to. Let's innovate. Let's try King of the Hill. Let's try Guardian. Let's try TDM. I'd be more interested if they said, tonight on Sunday we're having a Guardian tournament. The next Sunday we're having a TDM tournament. The next Sunday we're having a Gridiron tournament. That's what I'd be interested in. Not here's this miniature pro league with less money, and everyone's like a mini pro clone, and we're all copying the pro settings. We're just playing for less money and it's less high level. Use this chance to go out there and do something unique, like the tournaments. Like, instead of picking maps, maybe the maps are set. You always play on the same 4 maps, but the team, instead of going, I'll play on Icebound or I'll play on Vascar, they say, I'll play on Gridiron, I'll play on Guardian, I'll play on TDM. And instead you play the mode rather than the map. They could do some different twists and some different stuff. And again, I've listened to these questions, and basically, I will say this. The two pros obviously don't say, the two casters, sorry, obviously don't say too much too harshly, because they can't, right? They're still kind of employed. They obviously can't go all guns blazing and have a go at Dana. So the questions are kind of wishy-washy. And the questions by Dana are always kind of like, we like the scene, we support it, we wish there could have been more communication, we probably could do more, we're sorry about the money, etc. That's all he can say, isn't it? That's all he can say. He can't come out and be like, yeah, fuck Microsoft, they should have given you loads more money, this was a shit decision. This is the problem with these types of podcasts, and it's no reason or no fault from these guys' perspectives, but when you have 3 people that are employed effectively by the same company, there's only so much they can say, right? You can't have a proper discussion, because there's people above you that you can't really talk about or say or offend, or these two, let's say for some reason these two hated EGL and the way they've done things, they can't really call them out. If Dana hated the way Microsoft had handled this situation, and he sat there thinking, why didn't they just give them a tiny bit more money, and why didn't they give them a couple months notice, and now I wouldn't be sat here having to do this frigging podcast and having to squirm my way out of this. If he probably wants to say that, but he can't. And I'm considering, let me know what you think in the comments below, I'm considering hosting my own podcast where we just talk, somebody votes on a topic and we just talk on it for like an hour. Because I feel like if you have some people that are open to discussion that aren't tied to anything, I have no ties, I have no sponsors, I'm not tied to anyone in the scenes, don't have any friendships in the scene or anything really, so I can say whatever I want. I want some people like that, but yeah, I flicked through this, and in fairness to them all, they can't really ask that many questions because there's only so much you can say. But I wanted to do this podcast live, and I wanted to do it in one take because I was just excited. The dev blogs kind of get a bit boring, and I've watched them. Don't get me wrong, I've watched them. I just haven't posted them to my channel because they're not interesting. There was no new information, and I want my channel to be, when you see a video from GGZ, there's something there of substance. I watched I won't say their name, I watched a big content creator the other day on YouTube, and he posted up a video, and it was like a video that got like 10,000 views, and he was like, if you like this video and this video gets this many likes, I'll do another one, or I'll explain what was going on in this video. And then he just stopped talking and it moved on. I don't want to be like that. I want you to know that when GGZ posts a video, you get your brew out and you think, you know what, there's some content here, I'm going to watch it, right? So let me know what you think about that. But, there's not much they can say here. Yeah, Dana's 100% right. You don't want to hear it. TC could have done more. Microsoft could have done a bit more. But ultimately, nobody's really that bothered about Gears EU. So the prize pool's gone down. It's just the way it is. I don't even see the drama.
I guess maybe I didn't hear the question correctly, but I thought you asked me why did the program shrink? And the answer is, we want to support the program, but we have to support the program commensurate with the size of what the participation is. I think, to put it in a very blunt fashion. So hopefully I did answer the question. I don't know. Toby, call me out. If you feel I'm dodging the questions, call me out. I'm happy. I'm not happy. I'm willing to answer.
And so we might touch upon anything people put in Twitch chat as we go forward, because I have a few questions here. I mean, the next one I had on my list was a lot of people are wondering why it wasn't the investment tapered down slowly in Europe rather than just completely dropped out of the pro circuit. Why has it gone from so much money and events and whatnot? Why has it come?
Again, these are the type of questions that go on, and I'm not going to bore you to tears. I'll wrap it up now. Like Dana said, he's blunt about it. You can't just keep chucking money at something when nobody's watching. Unfortunately, it's now Gears of War's time to sort of, it's fight or flight, isn't it? I'll end the stream now. It's fight or flight, isn't it? Right now, it is the time for Gears of War to stand up and go, you know what? Our money might have been cut. The funding's down, but there is a massive group of passionate players ready to fight for that money. Ready to play those tournaments, ready to watch the Twitch streams, ready to make content. We're going to build this scene up, and eventually Microsoft will come back in and they'll give us that cash prize pool, or we'll build the scene up and it'll be ready for Gears 6. Unfortunately, I think people aren't willing to put in that work. People just want it handed to them. They want Microsoft to come in with another massive cash injection, and they can all put their feet up, they can all sit back, and they can all go, great, we don't have to build the scene up anymore, because all of a sudden I can just go and compete for another $100,000 instead of $1,000. Where that's just not the way it works. It's just not the way it works. Right now there's about 20 teams. Apparently there's like 15 that signed up. There's like 20 teams that compete, and if they're all playing for $1,000 each, and then the next day Microsoft said, you're playing for $100,000, they're going to think, brilliant, I don't need to reach out to the Discord, I don't need to make content, I can just sit in my lane, I can stay in my lane, I can practice, play some scrims, play off stream, and then I can roll up, win 100,000, and then be done with it. But now that that's gone, They're all like, shit, we're playing for $1,000, we're playing for $20, we're playing for $80. We need to grow the scene. Or the other response has been, I'm out. I'm going to play for another game with money in the scene. So yeah, it's time to grow the scene, lads. That's all I can say. It really is. It's time to grow the scene properly, or there ain't no money coming. That's just the way it works. People will jump ship and play for COD because they can be a nobody and go play COD and place top 100 and maybe get $1,000, whereas you're not going to get that in Gears of War. So for them, it's easier to jump ship and be worse at COD than it is to be better at Gears. That's what's frustrating them. It's easier to be worse at another game and get more money than it is to be better at Gears. But that's just investment. That's player size. That's interest. There isn't a lot of interest in the game. So I could be the world's greatest, I don't know, the world's greatest, I can't think of a really small game. I could be the world's greatest Battalion 1944 player, right? I would earn less money than being like a mid-level COD pro, right? Even though I'm much better at Battalion. That's just the way it works, you know? If you're a professional, I don't know, lacrosse player, you're going to earn a lot less money than if you're a professional footballer because there's no scene. You know, maybe I don't know about lacrosse, but you know, you get the point. Anyway, the point is, I found it, I don't want to laugh, but I did find it hilarious that they were literally playing for like a McDonald's prize, because that kind of meme's been around for a long time. Like, oh, you're playing for McDonald's money? Well, there you go, lads. You can kind of make the meme again. But yeah, it's sad. Obviously, I want Gears of War to be the best it can be. I've made a year's content to try help the game, so please don't tell me I don't want the best for Gears of War. But that's the way it is, isn't it? That's the way it is. If you try to help the scene, you get gatekeeped, you get shut down, and then we end up in this situation where everyone's angry, asking Dana, why is there no money? There's no money, mate, because no one's watching. So that's it. That's esports. Apparently, esports in Gears EU is finished. So let me know in the comments below what you thought. Smash a like and a comment. Support the content goal. Support the content goal, guys. Because there's no scene, lads. There's no scene. There's no scene, mate. There's no scene. I'm telling you that, mate. But seriously, appreciate everyone that's been supporting. Hey, this month is September. It's 30% off subscriptions. In fact, let's roll the advert, guys. Support your boy GGZII. He's trying to grow the scene. He's been in here for a year, mate. He's been here since 2006. He's trying to grow the scene. Let's roll it. Let's roll it and end. Peace out, folks. There has been one person on a mission to fix the game. GGZII started out from nothing and he began to build the Sicario. He's built his way up to 10,500. He's made over 1,000 YouTube videos. He's created discussion like no other. He's done it all. Let's roll some clips. See exactly what GGZII is about. Let's think about subscribing. Let's think about joining the YouTube Nation. Let's think about joining the Sicario.
The home for gamers. Every single month get exclusive in-game loot, free games, and a free subscription to your favourite content creator. Plus everything else that's included with Amazon Prime. Get a 30-day free trial today. Click that button. Go on, click it. Click. 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 Go on, click it.